Hi, this is Mr. Aguilar, and welcome back. This is Illustrator Basics Part 2, and we're going to break this lesson plan into two videos. So for this video, we're going to create a new document. So we're going to hit Control N to create a new document, and we're just going to go with a print letter, and then we want to make sure that we have two artboards. Okay, so that was Control N for a new document. We go to print, we click on letter, and we're going to have two artboards. Click create, and then our new document's going to pop up shortly. One thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come up here, and you're going to want to make sure that you have your window settings to Essential Classic, or your Illustrator settings, excuse me, to Essentials Classic. And over here on the right hand side, we're going to get our layer panel open, and we have layer 1 already there. So we're going to be working in that. Now, in the previous tutorial, we looked at the shape tool, how to create basic shapes, and then how to modify those shapes. Now we're going to focus on the blend tool, and we're going to use a little bit of the pen tool. Now, when this is all brought together, the pen tool, the shape tool, the blend tool, these are the basic features of Illustrator that's going to allow you to do a lot of things. So we're going to keep this one super simple. I'm going to zoom in so we can just focus on the one artboard, and I'm going to have it right up here. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here, and I have a solid fill white. I want to get rid of that. It's already forward. So what I'm going to do is just click none. That is that little white box with the red stripe, and you'll see that. And I'm going to bring the stroke forward. That allows me to change the color anytime I want. And then we're going to go to the pen tool. You can go P for pen tool. You can also undock the pen tool if you want. So if you just open up the pen tool palette, just hold down. So you're going to left click, hold down, and then you click this little arrow. You can undock it. This way you have access to the pen, the add point, minus point, and your convert anchor tool. So I'm simply just going to create a line. So I'm going to make my first point. I'm going to hit shift to constrain, and I'm just going to draw a straight line. I'm going to add a thickness to this because it's awfully thin, and I want to make sure that you can see it. I'm going to hit escape to get out of that tool. I'm going to come over here to my stroke panel, and I'm going to simply knock that up to like a 3. Let's go with 4 so you can see it clearly. Now, if you don't see this, all you have to do is click on the hamburger. That's these 3 little lines, and you can go show options. So right here, I'm going to hide options. I'm going to go in and I'm going to show options, and that's going to give me all of my options for the stroke. So here I have the line that I made. Now, if you hold down Alt, and again, I have the direct selection or the direct path selection tool, which is V. If I hold down Alt, I'm going to get a double arrow. And that double arrow says I'm going to make a copy. Now, as I drag, I'm going to hit Shift, and I'm just going to drag this line over to the right. And I have 2 lines that are identical, and they are parallel to each other. So with both of these lines, I'm going to drag my cursor over both to select them. I'm going to go to Object. I'm going to go to Blend. And nothing's going to happen because I'm simply just going to set my parameters under Option. So I'm going to go Specific Steps, and I'm just going to put in 10. It doesn't really matter. You don't want to do too few. You don't want to put in like 4 or 5, and you don't want to put in too many. You don't want to put in like 30 or 40. You want to see what happens. So I'm going to click OK. Now, nothing has happened because all I did was set the parameters. So I'm going to go back to Object. I'm going to go back to Blend, and I'm going to go Make. Now, if you look, the shortcut is Alt-Control-B. So in the future, I'm just going to hit Alt-Control-B, and that will activate my blend. So this is what happens. It's going to create those lines all the way across, and they're going to be evenly spaced. Now that's just going straight across. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another line. I have the same stroke as the last time because Illustrator remembers the last thing you do, and hit Escape. I'm going to go V, and that's going to be my direct path tool. I'm going to press Alt, drag, And I'm not holding shift. I'm not trying to drag it straight across. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to offset it. I'm going to set it lower. Okay. And then I'm going to select both of these. And then I'm going to use that shortcut. So I'm going to hit Control Alt B. And it looks like I accidentally activated something within my computer for RAM. But you're going to see that it did that blend straight down. Okay. Here's the other thing. If I go through and I select this, so I'm going to just select it, I can actually move this and it's going to move it. Okay. So you do that by double clicking on it. If you just click once on it, it's going to select everything. If I double click on it, then I can move it around and you can see what happens. And this is an isolation mode, and then I just double click to get out of it. So let me undo that just so you can see it. So that's one thing that you can do. Let's take this a little bit further. So I'm going to move down. And in fact, I'm going to move these up so they're out of the way. And I'm going to hold shift and I'm going to make these a little bit smaller just so we have some extra room. Actually, I think I'm going to do it right over here just so we can see the difference. So I'm going to create a new line and I'm going to do pretty much the same line as the other one. I'm going to hit the V for the direct selection tool. I'm going to press Alt to get that double arrow. I'm going to drag it. I'm going to hit Shift. This time, though, I'm going to go back to my first one, and I'm going to knock that stroke all the way down to a 1. And I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to push that stroke up all the way to something really big. Let's go 12, right? So you can see how thin and how thick that is. I'm going to select both. And again, I'm going to hit that Alt Control B. And here's the other thing that the blend tool is going to do. It's going to make it go from thin to thick, and it's going to space my lines. So here you can see the same thickness. It's just going to evenly space them about the amount of number that I set, which was 10. You notice you can do it at an angle, but you can also change the dimension so it can go from thin to thick. So there's a lot of things, like if you're creating textures, you want to create a shift from dark to light visually. There's a lot of things that you can do with this blend tool. We're going to keep moving on. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do this or this down here. It's going to be a little bit different though. So I'm going to, again, create 2 lines. I don't want it to be that thick. So I'll go to my stroke and I'm going to knock that all the way down to a 1. And then I'm going to make a copy by pressing the Alt and Shift and bring it all the way over. And I'm not going to make it quite as thick, but I'm going to make it thicker. So I'm going to go with, I think I'll leave it at a 6. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my pen tool, but this time I'm going to create a curve. I went a little bit off camera. There we go. I'm going to create that curve. I'm going to come up here and let's just get this curve going right through there. And then I'm going to take that stroke and I'm just going to make it a 1. So a couple of things that I have. One, I have my 2 lines and I have that curve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these 2. I'm going to go to Object. I'm going to go to Blend. I'm going to go to Blend Options. Now this time I'm going to make this a little bit more. So I'm going to put I'm going to start off with 25 and just see what that looks like. And then I'm going to hit Control Alt B. I want a little bit more. So I'm going to go back into my object. I'm going to go back into blend options, and I'm just going to make that 35. And you're going to see how it changes that. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select this, and I'm going to select this line that I made. I'm going to go to Object. I'm going to go to Blend, and I'm going to go with Replace Spine. And here you can see how you can use that blend tool on a curve. So that's it for this lesson. I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted to show you guys a couple of options that you can do with the blend tool and keep it fairly easy. So what I would suggest doing is just doing a couple of random lines using the blend tool. And in the next video, we're going to use shapes and colors with the blend tool. And I'm going to show you a little bit more advanced features that you can do. And then we're going to look at using the other blend features such as smooth color. So till the next video, this is Mr. Aguilar, and I hope you got something out of this.